The 7 Hertz X Crinacle Diablo. Let's talk about it. Now, this is a single planar IEM that has been sent to me by a friend of the channel. Sincere thanks to him. Sometimes I'm able to review things in a reasonable time frame, and sometimes people allow me to review their treasures. I appreciate that for him. He's sending me a few other things, and it's a nice opportunity when you guys let me review your stuff, because it's basically impossible to upkeep a channel like this without getting a few loners here and there. So this is an interesting IEM in the fact it is a twin IEM, meaning that both IEMs were released at the same time. This was released at the same time as the 7 Hertz Crinacle Divine. Build quality is essentially the same as the Divine, so if you want to skip this section, you can, with just the face plates being different. I like this shell a lot. I really like the matte black finish of this. I think it's a better choice than the super silver set of the Divine. I kind of wish it was maybe like a matte white or something kind of like that. Although the silver is pretty, it just feels like a fingerprint magnet and I don't want to touch it, but it's a nice set. Now, this is a nice shell. It isolates well. It has a nozzle that holds on to ear tips. It's a nice looking shell. It has right and left indications for stereo indications if you need it. It looks handsome, has Diablo written right here. It's a flat 2-pin cable connector, meaning it's easy to swap out. So there you go. I did not get the tips included with this, but this is the case. One thing I did want to share with you about this case is that this case is just about the same size as the box, so it kind of acts as packaging for this IEM, and just something to note. That cable is the same as the one on Divine, stereo indications of R and L for right and left. Functioning chin slider, it's a nice thing to have and hold, and the white splits, you know, it's decent. What else can I say about this? It's 3.5 connector. It's kind of a chunky cable that does not stay flat very well, but overall, nice cable. So how does this differ from the Divine? This just has a lot more mid-bass. That's basically the only difference. I personally don't really like it that much. I feel it muddies up some vocals and kind of adds a little bit of warm poo to the sound. It's not bad. It's really nice. It has really good micro details. I find this to be an exceptional IEM, especially for people who want a bass head level sound signature, and they want that at a reasonable price point. I find this to be a relatively clean set with great details. It's a fun planar IEM that doesn't cost too much money. It's not gonna get my recommendation above the Divine, but I still think this is a very competent, great set that I think people are going to love, especially those that are in camp bass head. So let's look at some graphs and talk a little bit more about how this might sound with your music. All right, let's look at the graph of the 7 Hertz Crinacle Diablo. What do you notice? That the bass rise starts right around 600. I prefer it probably around 300. I find that to be kind of the middle perfect ground. But even 200 even later is also okay. Its mids are nice and well done, very clean. It's very rare to find this with the planar. I encourage you guys to check out my Divine review, because I kind of talk about that in great depth and kind of why that's a special IEM. And in this regards, this is also a special IEM. I've listened to and reviewed a couple other planar IEMs that are bass head style IEMs, and so we'll talk about some of those soon. But, you know, overall, this has really good detail, not too airy, not too special. You won't find a ton of sparkle or magic with this IEM, but it's clean, it's crisp, it's clear. It has good little micro details, which is hard to find in a lot of IEMs. So I think this is a well done, beautiful IEM that people are going to like. Now, as far as the Divine goes, basically the same. The big thing you'll notice here is, I don't know, let's normalize this at 800, because that gives you a good idea. The Divine has a lot more flat mid-range, and it just kind of gradually goes up, whereas the Diablo kind of goes up kind of to extreme. Now, that's a fun colorization, but you have to notice, like, what's your neutral? Like, the Divine's more like my neutral, so it just kind of like emphasizes all the fun parts of the music, kind of the treble and the detail and the mids. Whereas the Diablo kind of makes the mid feel a little bit rough and husky for me, and it just makes vocals sound a little bit miffed and like and kind of gross and off. Like it just doesn't sound as clean or intimate as to me, and that's not something I really appreciate. But it's not bad. It's very enjoyable, and it's an enjoyable, good set. One thing this reminds me a little bit of is the Astrolith. Now, the Astrolith has a definite, pronounced amount of upper air and treble. It has a lack of presence region. It's a very interesting, unique IEM that, like, its graph is bonkers, but you can kind of notice that this kind of upper start with the trend of where the bass shelves are basically mirroring each other, which is interesting. All right, the next IEM that I want to talk about is the Quantum. Now, I like the Quantum, but it was just grossly overpriced. It's a fine set, but it's like, I don't know, like 700. This being 150 to me is like, yeah, I get that. I understand that. That's a reasonable amount of money to pay for a set. And like, I really like the Diablo. I think it's a good set. Like, I would go with the Diablo over something like the Quantum. And the Quantum has a unique sense, has a lot of jacked up air, just almost to like insane levels, has a lot of 8K, has this weird forward presence, which is not bad. Then it has a little bit more clean bass. It's a nice set. I like the Quantum. I love the Quantum, but when you get stuff like the Diablo for $150 for a bass head planar IEM, dude, it's hard to find specialty bass head style planar IEMs for a reasonable cost. And this accomplishes that really well. It's hard to find that. What else you got? Something like the Heidi's MK12X Duckblock. I like this IEM, but they both kind of have a lot of warmth. The Diablo has a little bit less sub bass, whereas the Duckblock is a little bit more bass tilted. If you're like crazy bass head, this might be a little bit better for you, but I felt the Duckblock just kind of lacked a little bit of energy up at the upper air. In my review of that, I included a few profiles to kind of add some air and sparkle to it. It's a fun set, but it's like bass head level, like thump, thump, thump. Whereas the Diablo, while it is bass head level, it is a little like thick bass and rich tonalities, good for kick drums. But what it does do, it has like this imagination, this sparkle. The planar driver has something really, really special about it. And there's really like the driver that the Heaven Surge Crinacle, 7 Hertz and Crinacle used in this IEM, I think is special. And I'm excited to see other IEMs use it. I don't know if it's proprietary or whether they're not going to be selling it or whatever, but it's a very good driver. And I'm super impressed with what they've done with it and that it can do different tonalities. Just great. Other IEMs, this kind of reminds me of a little bit of the Softears RSV MK2. If we normalize this at, say, 800, you got to see it a little bit better here, where the Diablo has a little bit of warmth, whereas the Softears RSV MK2 has a little bit less of that. But I mean, there's very similar things here. The RSV has a little bit less 8K. It does a little bit less timbre and different tonality. But you'll notice that, like, the Diablo for bass head level set does some good things, but this is kind of that region where I would maybe recommend trying a little bit of EQ difference with it. But the difference between these is not immense, but it shows you the capabilities of this driver and what it's really capable of. It's really rather impressive what they've done with this driver. It's a single IEM versus the RSV has what, like, I don't know. I want to say it's 10 drivers. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it has a lot of drivers, and they're all BA, and it's a different style and approach. I would encourage you to try both, but I mean, the RSV is, what, 700? And the Diablo being only 150 is, again, the point that I'm trying to make and compare these to expensive IEMs is the fact that the Diablo is a uniquely priced IEM of that flavor of bass head, which I think makes it pretty special. Other IEMs I wanted to share this with you. The Deuce. The Deuce was also approved by Crinacle. Again, you'll notice this huge amount of lower mid-range bass, bump, whatever you want to call it. The Deuce has way more sub bass. It's kind of jarring almost, a little bit more upper mids. It's a different set entirely, but this is the region that I wanted to highlight and kind of show you. And that's kind of my problem with Diablo, but it's also kind of makes it fun. and kind of special. And the Deuce is a nice set, but I don't know. It's build quality wise. I mean, the Deuce is like, I don't know, maybe $100. I know it's like $50 more, but like the build quality of it is just not nearly as good as the Diablo. So it's just something to kind of note. Look at other stuff. We're listing these together, the Punch and the base, the Cy Senior Mega 5 EST base, because they kind of have like some development ties in here. But you'll notice that the Diablo has a little bit less of this cut region here. The Diablo and both of these, like if we normalize this at maybe 800, I just like 800. You can kind of see how the Diablo has a little bit of that extra lower mid-range hump. The Punch and the Mega 5 EST base have a little bit different base approaches, but you can kind of see how they differ and how similar the Diablo is to these $500 sets, which is just, to me, is interesting. And then the last one I kind of wanted to show, something that's a little bit more in this price range, depending on what you want, is the Crescent. And the thing with the Crescent I kind of wanted to show you is that like the treble of the Diablo is done very well and very natural. It kind of has this natural timbre and presentation, whereas the Crescent kind of has upper increased 10K, which can kind of add this kind of imagination, sparkle. It might be something that you don't like, and I just kind of wanted to show that with the Crescent, as this to me is kind of considered base head level. It has like kind of rich, thicker, kind of sub-bassy kind of feel to it, and that gets you kind of a feel like this for me came across bassy when I read it, and the Diablo is just like wow, wowie wow, crazy bass level headset. All right, 7 hertz Crinacle Diablo. Let's rank it up. The bass on it's fun. It's really enjoyable. What I will say about this IEM is that the mids on this IEM are a little bit cooked in that region we talked about earlier. But all around, its treble is really nice, especially considering its price. Its soundstage is also really good. It's an all-around great set. It gets a recommendation. But for me, you know, I rank the Divine a little bit higher, and I think it's a little bit better of a better value if that's what you're going for. But at the same time, I want to be clear about the Divine, that the Divine is by no means a lean set. It's just a little bit less bass, whereas the Diablo is just kind of insane levels of bass and psycho levels, if you want to be honest. So I want to answer the question once and for all. Am I a bass head? No. I am a mid head. I like mids. I like treble. I do engage and appreciate good bass. And for me, this IEM, while very good and very fun and enjoyable, lands into that camp of bass head level territory. I like this set, but I prefer the bass actually on the Divine a little bit more. This is an interesting set. I can't think of any planar that does this kind of mids and this kind of upper treble this well. It's a very clean, it's a very fun, it's a very warm and engaging set that I encourage people that are interested in it to try. $150 is a lot for a lot of people, but for a lot of people, it's just kind of a drop in the hat. If you're one of those people that's a drop in the hat, yeah, you should buy this. It's pretty darn special. If you're one of the people that are really saving up for really want a bass head set, I think this is really good. I would encourage you guys that are worried about stuff to maybe wait a year, maybe two. There might be cheaper IEMs that use the same driver. They might redo this with a cheaper cable or easier packaging. They might sell the driver to other brands that want to do that. So I would encourage you to kind of wait off and see what happens with the driver. There are other people that may use this driver. Don't quote me, but it's possible. So I would be careful in that. If you guys have any questions or comments about this IEM, let me know in the comments below. Have a great day. Bye-bye for now.
Go!
Go.
Go on with you!